Hello fellow bariatric travelers, Dominique here. I had bariatric surgery on March 13th of 2018. So far from last year I'm down 124 pounds at this point, and sometimes on this bariatric journey we're traveling through and we need to create broth. That's it, clear broth, no milks, no anything like that. We just have clear liquids as part of the bariatric diet. And so to do that, homemade broth is really the best. So there are many creations you can come up with. The first one that we'll look at in this video is chicken peach broth. So rather than just going out and buying those, off the rack chicken broth, why not make your own and infuse some really delicious flavors into them. So the first thing you need is a chicken, a roasting chicken that you can boil up in a big Dutch oven or a big stock pot. You'll need some peaches, and I can try to juggle here, but no, I won't. This might turn into something very bad if I juggle. But it's the height of summer and I'm sure you can smell them. They smell delicious and they're going to be good in our broth. You'll need an onion. Doesn't matter if you get a red onion or a yellow onion, whichever one, but something with some flavor. Maybe even some scallions. But the last ingredient I'm going to use is some garlic cloves infused into the broth. And so, a broth also has seasonings in general. I'm going to keep it simple and use nutmeg, only nutmeg. But you could do a lot of things. You could use ginger, you could use cloves, you could use a Chinese 5-spice blend. It all depends on the Chinese 5-spice blend, which has lots of things. Let's see, it has anise, cloves, cinnamon, fennel, black pepper, so those are, in case you were wondering, the 5 Chinese spices. You can put in some. It all depends on what you like in terms of how you season your broth. Like I said, I'm a simple woman. I'm just going to use a little bit of nutmeg in my broth. So, let's get started, shall we? So the first thing we need to do is just boil up this chicken. So I have a whole chicken here, and I'm going to put it into this pot and then cover it with copious amounts of filtered water. So that'll be the first thing, just put the chicken in the pot. So here we go. I'm actually going to take this over to the sink to do this part. Gotta wash the hands. Okay, now that the chicken's on the stove, we can cut up the onion and garlic and put that in right along with the chicken while it cooks. And so you need a cutting board and you need your favorite knife, and then you can start cutting the onion and garlic to add into the chicken to cook while it cooks, so that we infuse some lovely onion flavor, in my case a red onion. So let's get this chopped up into fairly large pieces. You don't have to cut them too small, because we're going to be straining them. All you'll be drinking is the broth. I had to do 3 weeks of a clear liquid diet before my surgery and 2 weeks afterwards, so there was a lot of liquids there for just about 5 weeks of my life. And I'll tell you what, it got longer and longer during that last week. In fact, I think the last week lasted about 1.5 years, but the first couple weeks were not bad. So it's nice to get creative after a little while. Now, if you don't have time to make broth and you run out, you can do something like add a dash of sriracha into a store-bought broth, or add a little green chili powder. I'm from New Mexico, so everything is green chili out here. But I think you can get it widely wherever you go nowadays. And now, a couple cloves of garlic also added in would be delicious, I think. So I'm going to put 3 cloves of garlic in as well. we can peel the garlic. After you smush it. Smushing is kind of nice sometimes because your chopping's pretty much done. And there we go. And then just chop the garlic up a little because, like I said, it's all going to be strained. Alright, well, I'm just going to throw these right into the pot. The chicken will be cooking, and we'll see you after our favorite movie. We'll figure out what that is in a few minutes. Alright, so bring your chicken to a boil and then lower it to a low heat and lower the temperature to a low heat. Hey, we're back, and now about half an hour before your chicken's done, you want to add the peaches and the nutmeg into the mix. And so we're going to take and just slice these peaches into like half or fourth because, like I said, we're going to strain everything. So I'm going to use 3 peaches in this, I think, and then I'm just going to cut them one more time. And good thing we don't need pretty peaches with this bunch because it looks like it's not going to be a pretty story. Alright, so I'm just going to take these, add them right into the pot. It's very simple. So when I add nutmeg, I don't add very much. I keep it really conservative in terms of how much I put in because it is a powerful flavor. So I'm going to go ahead and stir these peaches around in the broth a little bit. And then we'll just take our nutmeg, a skosh here, a skosh there. Oh my gosh, that came out fast. It's more than a skosh, so we'll see how this broth comes out. Okay. Now this chicken's almost done. And it's smelling really good. So we'll let it keep simmering for about another half hour. And then we're going to strain everything. And our broth will be ready for prime time. See you then. Alright, when your house is full of the smell of boiling chicken and peaches, you can take a strainer and a big bowl and take the chicken out, and then we'll drain the rest of the broth and we'll be done. So let's do that. Alright, the chicken is very cooked at this point, so it's just falling apart. And you can do whatever you want with that boiled chicken. Lots of things you could do, shred it or just eat it the way it is. And then you can use one of these babies to strain your broth. So let me get another bowl and we'll see if all of the peaches and stuff will fit in this bowl. I might need a bigger one. Alright, so there you have it. That's the first pass at getting things strained out of your broth. Well, this is your final step. This is where something that we boiled for a while becomes the clear broth. And I'm going to try to just pour this into the strainer over a bowl, but I may need to ladle it out. We will see if pouring works. Alright. Seems to be working quite well. Okay, so doing it that way, we've cut all the little bits and pieces of onion and peach that were left in the broth there. And now you have a nice clean, clear broth that you can enjoy on your bariatric diet. This is our yield, just to let you know. We came up with about 30, these are about 36 ounces, so we came up with about 3 36-ounce containers. And let's give it a try before we put this in the freezer or the fridge. See how it tastes. Well, it's very chickeny. I guess there's an aftertaste of peach in there, so next time I did this I might put more peaches in, just to make it a little more fruity. But it's really delicious, and I like that aftertaste. It lingers with you. So hopefully these ideas will linger with you, and you try chicken with lots of different fruits. Maybe you'll find something really creative. Let me know in the comments. Bye! Hello, beautiful people. Our next broth for bariatric clear broth stage is a vegetable broth, which is pretty easy because you can use all sorts of ingredients. It's great because you get a lot of nutrients from vegetable broth. And so let me tell you what I'm going to put in mine today. We're going to start with a base of New Mexican green chili, which is always a great base when you're from New Mexico or from the Southwest here. But I think you can get it just about anywhere now. I'm going to add some Italian herbs to season my broth. But then the other part of the base, Italian herbs, I don't know if you can see it. The other part of the base, I'm going to use some plum tomatoes as part of my broth so that you have kind of a tomato taste to the broth as well. And then we'll just use salt and pepper to taste. And we're going to cut up all these vegetables, and I'm going to use onion and bell pepper, which I think are huge ingredients for any vegetable broth. They taste the best to me. That could just be my taste because they grow around here very well. Along with garlic. So I'll be using several of these kind of peppery things. And then also I'm going to put some cabbage in because it's just so frickin' healthy for us to eat cabbage. So this time I'm going to put a purple cabbage in because that's my husband's favorite cabbage, but you could use green cabbage. You could frankly use any vegetables that you want into a vegetable broth. I'm going to use the big stock pot this time because it's going to make a lot of broth. We'll have a lot of nice liquid left over, and I'm going to cut my vegetables fairly large so that they're easy to strain out after the broth is made. So let's get to it. Alright, so this is the preparation. We're basically cutting them up. So here we go. So we're going to start with 2 onions. And like I said, I'll chop it really large. These are not sweet onions and they're not red onions, they're just your normal yellow onions. Chop in the onions, trying not to cry. So I'll throw those into the pot. And we'll chop up the bell peppers. As far as peppers go, if you don't want to use green chili, you can use jalapenos, or you can use any other pepper that you particularly like to make your chili a little flavorful, or to make your broth a little flavorful. Like I said, I'm just coarsely chopping these, so you don't have to get down to the nitty-gritty, which is nice. I also like red, yellow, and orange bell peppers because they're much sweeter. But if you like the green bell peppers, you know, go for any peppers that make you happy. Okay, then we add the peppers into the pot. You might be getting the hang of this. Okay, let's cut at least part of this big cabbage. And I'm going to use half this cabbage because I'm here and I can smell it, and I know it's going to be overpowering if I use the whole thing. So I'm going to leave some room for the onions and peppers to add some taste to our broth. All right, and the last thing, a few cloves of garlic. And I think the vampires are staying away tonight. Okay, so we'll just loosely chop these up. Go ahead and add this in. Now let's fill the stock pot with water. This pot comes with 8 cups, so the 8-cup mark is going to be about right here. I'll probably put even more than that in. I'm filling it up to the 8-cup mark, which wouldn't be exactly 8 cups. You're just displacing where all the vegetables are. Maybe that's about 6 cups. Okay, now we will put in the tomatoes and green chili. So, I didn't open this jar yet. Let's see if I can open it. There we go. Oh, good. Wasn't too bad. All right, I think I'll put a cup or so of this in. Because this is, let's see, oh, it's medium. I think I'll put a cup and a half in. But you want to put in as much as you can handle. You don't want to put in too much, especially post-surgery. You don't want to make anything too hot. I don't know, my taste changed a lot. And I couldn't handle really, really hot foods, which were my favorites pre-surgery. Oops, and then you have to remember where your can opener is. That's one thing. And we'll put these tomatoes in, the herbs in, and we'll be good to go for several hours on the stove here. So I'm just going to put these crushed Roma tomatoes in, plum tomatoes, pardon me. Turn that baby on. And then we'll put some herbs and salt and pepper in. You could wait on the salt and pepper till the end, which I think I'll do. I think I'll just put the herbs in for the cooking time. And then stir. You're going to need a big spoon. So that's what I'm going to do next. So these Italian herbs have thyme, marjoram, savory, rosemary, basil, sage, and lavender. That's what I'm putting in. You can put any combination of that in you like. And a big spoon. Here's a big spoon for stirring. I'm going to stir all this up. And it is a big pot of goodies. We'll start by bringing it to a boil, and then we'll reduce it to a simmer. And you can let it cook for an hour, hour and a half, whatever floats your boat, however strong you want it to be, whatever time you have allotted. All right, this is looking good. It's on, and it's on. So we'll see how this broth comes out when it's done. It's more simple, a lot of ingredients though. back for our third installment of bariatric broth, and this time we're going to do a simple mushroom broth, which I think will be maybe the most delicious one and definitely nutritious because mushrooms have tons of antioxidants in them. So the ingredients for the mushroom broth are lots of mushrooms and just an onion and some garlic. So the type of mushrooms that I'm going to use are portobello mushrooms. So I got 4 big ones, and then some shiitake mushrooms. Those are 2 types that are pretty good for a mushroom broth. So here we go. I'm just going to chop up these mushrooms, chop up the garlic and onion, and we'll put them in the broth water and then let it, I would say bring it to a boil and then let it cook for an hour and a half, an hour, whatever floats your boat. And you should have a delicious mushroom broth, which is just really incredibly good for you, like I said. So okay, here we go. I generally start with the onion every time I cut something. I have no idea why. It's just become my go-to. Maybe because you often saute onions in recipes, and that's one of the first steps that you take. Alright, and now I think maybe 2 or 3 cloves of garlic would be good in this. You could do more if you like, it depends on your taste. Here we go. So I'm just your simple home cook, so my knife skills are nothing to write home about. But hey, whatever works. Okay, well, I'm going to put these in. Okay, and I went ahead and turned my burner on, and now we will use the mushrooms. Now mushrooms absorb everything, so I used uber filtered water from our reverse osmosis system instead of regular tap water. We have a what would you call it, a water filtration system that works throughout our whole house, but then under the sink we have a reverse osmosis system. So sometimes I use the good water. And the great thing about broth is I can chop these up nice and big. I don't even have to chop very small. And portobellos, man, they are so good. I love the taste of portobello. You gotta love the taste of portobello in the morning. I don't know, there's a debate on whether to wash mushrooms or not, so I do a little bit of both. Sometimes I wash them and sometimes I don't. I should probably make up my mind one of these days, but today's not that day. So I'll keep my option open. Sometimes when you wash mushrooms with regular tap water, I mean, they're just going to absorb whatever is in the regular tap water. But if you do wash them, I think then you dry them off with a paper towel, and they absorb water really fast, so it depends on what you're cooking and all that. So I don't know where you stand on it, but whatever you feel like doing. Alright, that's looking good. We got our portobellos in there, and now we just need to get our shiitakes in there. Some of these might not even need to be chopped because they're so small, but I will chop up some of them. Alright, ooh, stay with me, mushrooms. So mushrooms are the natural cleansers of the earth. So like for environmental reasons, they grow mushrooms to clean up horrible toxic sites. So mushrooms are just amazing. You don't know if they're sentient or not. They're pretty amazing. And actually, we're going to make a stroganoff with these leftover mushrooms and put some beef in with them. So they're going to serve double duty. They'll make the broth, but then they'll also be part of a stroganoff after the broth. Okay, last package. Like I said, you want to get lots of mushrooms. It'll give it that wonderful, what they call umami flavor. And that's U-M-A-M-I. I hope I'm saying that right. And that's sort of that just really textured, lovely, rich flavor that's not sweet, but really hearty instead. I'm realizing cutting mushrooms is kind of fun. Okay, then give this a big stir. And that is it. You can use whatever spices you want. I really want the mushroom flavor to come through, so I'll just wait to salt and pepper it at the end, however I'd like to do that. And that's it for this recipe. We'll wait for that to boil, and then we'll reduce it to a simmer, and like I said, cook it for at least an hour. Hi, hello. Well, the mushroom broth is cooked and all we have left to do is drain it. So I'm going to start with a slotted spoon and just get a lot of these mushrooms out into a bowl. And then, you know, I got my handy dandy pourable measuring cup out, so a larger one. So I think that'll be a lot easier for putting this broth into containers. So this smells wonderful. It's that wonderful umami smell, and it just smells so good. I hope that you do try a mushroom broth because this smells fantastic. And I think it will need some salt and pepper when you actually go to eat it or drink it, or however you want to characterize what we're doing with broth. Add some protein powder to it and enjoy it for dinner. So yeah, mushrooms are just so lovely. Alright, and I don't know if mushroom broth, like clear mushroom broth, is something that's so easy to get in a store. It's really kind of nice to make your own. So, I want to savor as much of this liquid as we can. And again, the ingredients here were just mushrooms, yellow onion, and 3 cloves of garlic. So very simple, but really good smelling. And smell is a lot of the taste of something, so it's great to have something that smells absolutely delicious. Okay, now I'm going to attempt to just pour this over some, but it wasn't too bad. And then what's nice about this pourable one is that I can pour it right into the container. And then go back for more. Whoa. I'm doing a good job of making a mess here. Okay, now that I got rid of some of that broth, I can get a bunch more of these mushrooms out of the pot. And I bet if I did this in a way where I wasn't trying to show you, but I could actually see what I was doing, I might not spill it. Yep, look at that. Works like a charm. You can see something, you could do it. So, there we have it. A beautiful mushroom broth. Nice and clear. Ready for your bariatric liquid phase. I think they call it phase 1 of the bariatric diet, or stage 1. So we've got 2 about 32-ounce containers. And you know, the amount of water I added in here, I think it was maybe 8 cups, maybe 7 cups. And it all cooked down to about 3 containers. So, there you have it. Those are the broths. And I hope that you have fun creating your own. You know, comment and let me know if you come up with something that is just as creative and how it turns out for you, or how these turn out for you if you give them a try. Make them your own. You don't need to do it exactly like I did. That's the great thing about broth or soup or anything like that. It's pretty much going to come out well because it's very malleable. So thanks. All right, bariatric family, I am so glad that you're getting creative with your broth making abilities, and that you're checking out, you know, what you can do at home instead of always just buying something from the store, because a lot of times what we make at home is just healthier, and it can be a little more complex and taste delicious. So follow your doctor's advice to the letter so that your surgery is safe, and you know, especially after surgery, make sure you do the clear liquids for 1 or 2 weeks, whatever they recommend. And know that all of us out here who have walked the path before you are with you, and we're encouraging you. And you know, we can get great results when we just sort of surrender into this process, and we can even get creative with it. So thanks so much for watching this video, and mwah. Bye.